So, we are 2 days before the election, and women are not coping well with the fact Trump's about to win. There has been quite a lot of, by the way, you guys like my shirt? Because I got some dark MAGA stuff, but then I realized we need dark MAGA times dark MAGA, or dark MAGA squared. The only thing left to do would be to wear a dark MAGA sweatshirt on top of this, which I will be doing for election night. Encourage all Gen Z feminists to tune in. But there is a lot of fatness in the air, a lot of estrogen, a lot of frustration, a lot of counterfeit moral virtue, and panic at the fact that no one's taking the cult of the left seriously. And so I thought, given the amount of feminine degeneracy we're seeing on full display, sort of manifesting itself like a demon in The Exorcist, what better time to record one of these where we see a woman who goes on a dating show, right? And rejects a bunch of bankers, financial guys working at tech startups, etc., right off the bat. And then her first question to them is, how would you apologize to me when you're wrong? Oh my gosh. Feminism is, on one hand, of course, a mental disability, but on the other hand, a gift from us that will deliver us King Garbage Man himself in 2 days. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here.
Let's go ahead and ask them a question, see who's more of your type.
Ooh. Okay, say we get into a disagreement, something you did, it doesn't have to be cheating. What is...
A disagreement. Automatically construing a disagreement as something you did. Because a disagreement can never involve the woman being at fault, just as the left can never be wrong. The left can never be at fault, but for a much more technical and insidious reason. The left doesn't believe in objective reality, because objective reality is linked to coherence and order, which discriminates between better and worse, or in the case of coherence, less coherent and more coherent, ordered, chaotic. And when you extrapolate that to the psychological landscape, masculine and feminine. In other words, leftism and its subsidiary ideologies, such as feminism, cannot stand objective reality or the accountability that comes from it. And so just as leftists can never be at fault because they're paragons of moral virtue, as you got to see in the video I just uploaded, women can never be at fault because to correct femininity, unmitigated degenerate femininity, would be oppression.
How would you apologize, or how would you make things right between us?
And the host is just nodding like, yes, girl, of course. That's a question that makes sense. I said that to the last 3 guys that I went on a date with. I'm 38 with 2 kids from 4 different baby daddies. Don't do the math. It was a wild night. We're still not sure how it happened. But what we do know is that I'm a boss queen and that it was their fault. Oppression.
Okay, let's start here first with your name and age.
Yes, I'm Kendall. I'm 29. Actually just turned 29, so happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Oh my gosh, we're both born in the month of asparagus with Jupiter rising and its half full moon.
You know?
And now, Kendall, what do you do?
I'm a personal trainer, and I run my own coaching business.
And then you could just go ahead and answer her question.
Yeah, so you asked about how do
you apologize? How do you make things right?
How do you apologize? The question was actually, how do you resolve an argument? But notice in the mind of a woman, it's how do you apologize, not how do you resolve an argument. See, between men, if it's going functionally, it's let's reach an understanding based on logic, based on rationality, and we'll have a common understanding that reflects reality, because rationality and logic reflect reality. And we've known this for 2,000 years since Socrates. But women are like, oh my gosh, you made me feel this way. Feelings are more important to me than reality. Actually, reality doesn't exist because I'm a Marxist.
If we get into a disagreement.
With me, I like to listen to my partner. I like to know exactly what the resolution of the problem was, and then
props to this guy, because he's handling it the best way he could, pretty much.
Based on my partner's love languages, what I know could ease the situation, I like to kind of go out my way of things that I know she would appreciate.
Notice that he's talking in circles. He's using the female words, love language. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to make any definitive statements because I know that would scare you off. That would mean that I'm an oppressive tyrant if I were to say things.
To make things right, that way it's we're both at an understanding. I would know how to combat that with things that she may appreciate, I said, love languages, and then kind of go from there.
Notice how he said he's not actually going to resolve the problem. He's going to just make her forget about it. which is actually a strategy a lot of men are doing now, but that's not a sustainable strategy, especially if you're going to be with someone for years in a row. Jordan Peterson has talked about this, but you have to be able to resolve arguments. And if women, and specifically your partner, views disagreement or the implementation of logic and reason as oppression, then there is no long-term possibility there. I know that's going to be hard for a lot of men to accept, but this is also the reason why women have to follow men's lead, because they're not wired like us, and so they cannot compete on this landscape that reveals objective reality. It's the reason why they demonize the whole landscape. In other words, it's like you're playing chess with somebody, but they say, this game of chess is oppression. And you're like, but we're playing chess though. And they're like, no, this game is oppression. And then they flip the board over. I don't know if you guys have been to chess tournaments. I have. If somebody did that, they would automatically lose the game. The referee would come over, the official, and they would be expelled from the tournament. So if women have this predisposition, they should adhere to their natural instincts and their biology and let men lead. So that's why this question doesn't make any sense.
All right, thank you. Let's go down over here. Okay, let's get your name and age.
My name is Anthony, and I'm 29.
Anthony, what do you do?
So I'm an entrepreneur. I got my own pressure washing business, and I work for a family-owned transportation business as well.
So if you want to just go ahead and answer
I
a
think this
question.
guy's been on the show before.
So basically, how would I apologize?
Yeah, so just make things right between us. If we would
Again, she conflates those two things in a way it's astounding. She doesn't realize the absurdity of it. Making things right equals apologizing. It's crazy. No, making things right means overcoming the problem so you don't have to ever confront it again. It's like slaying the dragon. That's archetypal language, but Jordan talks about that all the time.
were to get
So I don't like to go to sleep on it. So I'm the type to try to, figure out what you like to do or what is something that makes you smile. I know food makes me smile, so that's what
Is this language not as if he's talking to a child? Oh, we're gonna eat because food makes me smile, and you'll forget about it, dude. That's literally a tactic you use for kids at the airport. It's like, oh my gosh, our 4-year-old's crying, our 6-year-old is like throwing up. Okay, let's get some. Buy the chicken wings. Just give them chicken nuggets. Go to McDonald's, chicken nuggets. We don't want them crying on the airplane. Bring the chicken nuggets. That's a tactic you use for kids. You should not have to use that for your wife, bro. It's so crazy. And I'm not demonizing all women here, because obviously if you're not a feminist, this isn't you. So don't get offended. The only reason you should be offended is if you're a feminist. But the problem is that the resentment of feminism is possessing inordinate numbers of women, especially in my generation. You have no idea how bad it's gotten if you're not in my generation.
But as far as knowing what you like to do, maybe bring you some flowers, maybe.
This girl is older than me, probably by like 5 years. So the younger generation is even more radicalized.
Just get you something to put a smile on your face, and then we could talk, talk it out. You want to hold it out the next day, we could do that. But let's try to get it over with before we go to sleep.
And let's go over here. Your name and age.
My name is Cliff, and I'm 31.
Cliff, what do you do?
I'm a project manager for a construction company.
And then if you want to go ahead and just answer
They're
a question.
recycling guys. This guy was also on a previous show.
So how would I handle it? I like to go out. We'll probably go out, do some fun, do some, clear the air. Like, let's go do something fun.
I don't like that response. It's incorrect. The reason it's incorrect is because you can't just forget about things. You have to confront the problem. And the way you do this is, as a man, you have to do it yourself and then expect her to follow you by you being coherent and sure of yourself. Women, they don't really follow. This is interesting, and it took me a long time to realize this. By a long time, I mean like maybe 4 years. Women don't really look at men's response to things by vetting their logic and their rationality. They look to men's response to things based on the men's assuredness in their own logic and rationality. And then it must be a UFO. Anyway, they either then reap the rewards of their man's correct decision making, or they pay the consequences of it down the road when he's wrong. But they can't really tell if what you're doing is correct. They just want to follow a guy who is sure of himself. And of course, down the road is where the winners separate themselves from losers and then rise up the competence hierarchies of masculine performance, which automatically are selected for by the women's attraction mechanism, psychologically speaking.
Fun to get that stress and relief off, us. So I would like to do something fun, release that stress. Positive.
All right. Let's hit on
I'm curious to see which guys she will select based on their answers. I'm willing to bet it's going to be the one who's most sure of himself, which was probably the first dude. Like, again, the question is incoherent that she asked, so she's probably going to go with the guy who's most sure of himself.
Heck.
Or maybe not, if she's threatened by masculinity to like an ultra degree and she's been indoctrinated. I don't know.
So I'm pretty sure they want to know, what do you do to apologize when you're in the wrong?
I think for me,
That's a surprising question. I didn't think that would be asked.
Like,
Let's see if she can ever. Let's see if she can even engage in a hypothetical where she's wrong.
he said just don't go to sleep on it. But also, I loved like catering to my specific love language, and then also me doing the same thing to my man. Like,
Yeah, I love it when I'm wrong, he caters to me and apologizes. Leftism preys on feminists for a reason. And it also makes women into feminists because the resentment for masculinity that feminism harbors is the same resentment Marxism has for reality. Guys, replay that again if you need to focus on what I just said, because that was very intelligent.
like his love language, whatever, and just making things right. Obviously, no
Notice
one
that
is
she's
in
not
the
going to
wrong.
say the words logic or reason at any point in any of this. She's just going to use the words make it right, because women don't look at overcoming problems as reflecting the objective world. That's the man's job, as far as they're concerned.
No one is in the right. It's just equal playing field.
Right, see, no one's in the right. There's no such thing as objective reality, because if there was, I would have to be beholden to it rather than my ideology. You see why leftism preys on feminism?
Trying to get back on good terms. So.
Okay. Okay, right. With that being said, I am going to have you pop a balloon. Yes. Just one.
I don't think it's going to be the first guy.
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Makes sense.
why did we end up popping his?
I loved everyone's answers. His was just, if we're getting into an argument, I don't want to just go out and kick it like right after we get into an argument. Like, I really want to sit down. I really want to get to the point. I really want to,
If you appreciate my analysis, guys, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way up. This next year is going to be our year. And of course, save America. Please. Groceries are too expensive. Save America.